Black, Latino, and Native American. When the Lord says that our kingdom is to come, as long as we follow the law, statutes, and commandments.
I got the camera bag, I'm the cameraman. If shit getting active, I'ma stand it down. We taking ground, call an ambulance. That shit go right, right. If shit go left, you best get right, or you'll get left. You got that right. That shit go. If you got a problem, we'll handle it. Niggas acting hard, you better stand on it. We on every corner, we stamping it. You better get your life for this camp shit. We ain't playing around, there's no cowards, dog. If niggas charged up, you get powered off. Rude of speech, keep it raw. It ain't my fault that you niggas soft. It ain't my fault that these niggas frauds. It ain't my fault that them niggas rats. If your colors fly, you don't get that shit go left, right, left, right, right. If shit go left, you best get right, or you'll get left. You got that right. That shit go left, right, right. If shit go left, you best get right, or you'll get left. You got that right. That shit go.
Wanna go to war, gotta hop into the van. Tryna cut the semen, something you don't understand. Getting tough from my betterment, better take it like a man. Nigga, how you walk away for camp? If you willing to die, you better be willing to stand. Take a trip around the world, see a bunch of corners held by them UPK niggas. All them UPK niggas go to camp. And I'm on Shamar here, hanging out the car. Wonder when I pull up straight to the battlefield. And I'ma make sure niggas make it back home. Say, nigga, what you thought? When anything moving, I be on. Gotta remind them, we nothing like them niggas that you saw. If you hear back up, that'll be your last time to get out the way. The price to pay before.
That shit go left.
Nah, for real though.
Right. If shit go left, you best get right, or you'll get left. You got that right. That shit go left.
Nah, for real though.
Right. If shit go left, you best get right, or you'll get left. You got that.
Y'all about to give y'all shot right there. Move that song. Move that song. Move that song. The Father we fear. The Father we fear. Yehovah. Yehovah. Israel. Israel. Israel.
Shalom, shalom, Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shabaraka, thumb to the Akim, Yahweh Shema Allah, thun Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shah to the sisters. All right, we are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York in 1969 under commanding General Yohana. We ain't affiliated with no other Hebrew Israelite group, Christian church, Muslim mosque, or any so-called pro-black movements. All right. We got a couple brothers and sisters in the class. The water for coming in. Shalom, shalom, shalom. We got Officer 500 Yagadar. Shalom, out of one. Sister Ra'ah. Officer 50 Yabakar. Sister Hadassah. Shalom, shalom. Everybody on Facebook that's watching, shalom. All right. We got a topic, man. Listen, I want to get straight into this. You understand? You understand? Shalom, UPK Adon. You understand what I'm saying? Listen, man, I want to get straight into this. I don't want to waste no time. Y'all be listening out for Officer Yagadar too. I know he on the ones and twos. Give him a hand. I know he gonna be jumping in and out of this one right here. You understand? That's my man, 100 grand. But listen, man, I'm pretty sure all of y'all been. I was supposed to come and do the second part, to the class last week, but I'm gonna say that for next week, Lord allow, because this week I got to get on the current event and the topic that's been going on this week that got the internet blowing up. It's about the young sister, right? that whose mother caught a 20-year-old man, right, up under her bed, and the mother unalived her. All right. So we're gonna talk about that. Listen, y'all, I'ma just say this. I hope this class inspires our people, our brothers and sisters, you understand, to understand how important it is for a black and brown father to be in the home, right? And the second part to that is, as is the mother, so is the daughter. We got to understand this. And that works both ways. So is the mother, as is the mother, as the son is the son and the daughter. Without that father, you understand. We about to look up all this history concerning our people. You understand what I'm saying about how important it is to have fathers in the home. And we done lost so much sight and focus of that as a people. Now, if I could, Salak, yes, sir, Officer Yagadah, can I get the slide that said with the black fathers in slavery? All right, I'm gonna try to go through this as quickly as I can because it's a lot to push. You understand? It's a lot to push. We got a lot of scriptures we can go to. We're gonna go to, but I want to get these slides out first. You know what I'm saying? I want to get some of these out, right? Because it's gonna make these scriptures. It's gonna bring these scriptures home. All right. We got to understand this. I mean, because one thing that we seeing in our community, in the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community, is a lack of parenting. We're trying to raise our children as Americans. We have to understand that the way we are raising our children is not the right way that the Lord, the God of the Bible, intended Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to raise their children. It's not. How do we know? Because in these statistics I'm about to show you, it's going to prove that the worst father on this planet and in this country is the white man. And you're raising your children exactly how he raises his. I think we about to step on some toes here and get on some nerves. All right, so listen. This is the success rate of black fathers in the home during slavery. All right. And this is during slavery because even though so-called slavery was abolished at a certain time, it was still Negroes still on plantations. You understand? So we're going to see what it was like, what the black family was like, right? The black and brown family. We're going to see what it was like, right? During the so-called abolishment of slavery and towards the end parts of slavery. All right. So let's check it out. Historical studies, such as the seminal work by historian Herbert Gutman, indicate that despite the immense legal and physical destructions of chattel slavery, right? A majority of enslaved families maintained dual parent structures. All right. So listen, let's look at this word where it says the immense legal and physical destruction, meaning it was legal to cause physical destruction on our people. Our people were sexually essayed, all right, unalived, beaten. You understand? We were treated so horrible in slavery, right? And it was legal to do so. But even in those times, and after this time was abolished, right? Well, they so-called made laws that you can't own slaves, right? It says a majority of enslaved families maintain dual parent structures, meaning a dual parent structure is your daddy and your mama in the house. And not only outside of that, you had Pawpaw and you had Nana. You had your granny. You had your whatever you call it. You had your grandfather and your grandmother with your father and your mother. You had a family structure, dual parents. You had both parents in the house. This is after slavery. This is after the worst time that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians ever suffered in this earth. The only people to suffer this, all right? We had dual families. It says, or active paternal involvement were possible, rather than a single quantifiable success rate, meaning it wasn't many single parent households coming out of slavery. There was some, but it wasn't many, right? It says historical estimates show roughly 69% to 86% of enslaved families lived in two-parent households or had fathers actively integrated into family and kin networks, with forced separation and death being the primary drivers of physical absence. So, listen, coming out of slavery, the only reason why a father was not in the house was due to forced separation. What do y'all think the forced separation was? We've all heard a lot of this all the time, especially with brothers coming out of Mississippi going up to Chicago. Their father, grandfather got into it with somebody and they had to get out of town. They had to leave town. Right? Your father, grandfather had to go through it with a white man. He had to handle his business. You understand? He had to stand 10 toes down on a heathen. Right? And now he got to go. Right? This is after slavery, right? Let's keep going. Let's look at it again. And it says death being primary drivers of physical absence or fathers being unalive. We all know the stories of the Ku Klux Klan coming to the home, coming into Rosewood, coming into Tulsa, Oklahoma. We know about the Black Wall Streets. We know about these things and how the white man came in and destroyed the families. And who did they destroy? They took out the father. When Christopher Columbus sailed over here in 1842, what is it, 14, 17? One of them teens. He came over here in 1492. You understand? He came over here and he destroyed the Native Indians. You know how? He took out the fathers. Took the fathers out. When you take away, a father is the first and last defense for his family, for his wife, and for his children. You understand that? Fathers are the first and last defense for a community. Fathers are the first and last defense of a nation. Fathers are the first and last defense of a race of people. And the white man's job was to totally wipe that away. All right? Now, if I could out of one, could we get fathers in the 60s? All right? We're going to walk this down, man. Y'all pay attention. I hope y'all got your pencils or your pens and your notebooks. Take notes. All right? And we're going to, and this is also going to prove that we are the children of God, that we are the people in the Bible. Because we're going to read in the Bible exactly what's happening. All right? This is the success rate of black fathers in the home during, is this the 60s or the 80s, sir? Let me get the one with the 60s. It should be one with the 60s, sir. Salaki. We came out of slavery. Now we're going to look into the 60s. And the reason why the 60s is so important is because around this time in the 60s, if anybody know anything about the mid 50s, beginning of the 50s, towards the 60s, you understand, it was a lot of pro-black movements going on. One was the biggest, the civil rights movement, right? We all know that by 1969, by the end of 1969, every single black power movement was destroyed. Right? And we're going to see what happened during that time when it concerns fathers and mothers on the families. Let's see that. So this is the 60s, right? It says in 1960, the vast majority of black children, approximately 78% to 80%, lived in two-parent households with a father or male figure in the home. Through structural shifts and rising single-parent rates began accelerating later that decade. Come on, let's be honest here, people. What is this showing you? It's showing you that now that we've moved on since after slavery, you got a high percentage of black kids with fathers, right? In the home. Or some type of male figure. You know, black people used to live in houses together. The whole family lived together in certain places. Like we brought out earlier. Grandfathers, dual parents. Had uncles, cousins, you understand? Big brothers, some type of male figure. And we know in the 60s, as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we were trying to, something came into this earth where we wanted to fight for who we are and separate and come together. But then all of a sudden, 1960 come, now we got all this civil rights crap going on. And because of civil rights, what was the head of civil rights? Can anybody tell me what was the head of civil rights? Not who, but what? What became the main lead in the civil rights movement? For time's sake, I'm going to answer that for you. Christianity. Christianity became the leading force, the leading drive of the civil rights movement. And by doing so, this is what happened. Now, it's going along to say historical context and statistics. The 1960 baseline. Census data from 1960 indicates that only about 9% to 22% of black children lived in single-parent or father-absent homes, meaning roughly 78% to 91% live with both parents or a resident father. Now, in the 60s, even though that's happening, we still doing good, right? Contributing policies, right? Let's read the shifting. The shift in the 1960s. By 1965, prominent reports like the Mohian Report highlighted a rising trajectory of out-of-wedlock births, moving from 24.5% in 1964, and structural erosion of traditional marriage rates. Now, why is this happening? Notice the key word, marriage. This is why this is a big problem for us. If Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people knew their culture, which is the culture that is in the Bible, the laws, statutes, and commandments that are literally in the Bible, right? If we would have known that that was our culture, right? We would know that sex is marriage. If anybody here is old enough to know, right? I'm 43 years old. I was born in 1982. So I'm still a young fella. You understand? But I'm old. I have parents, and I'm old enough to know and remember some of the things that they taught me. My mom was born in the 60s. My father was born in the 60s. Right? You understand? And it was things that I remember my mother and my father telling me the story about how my father was able to talk to my mother. He had to speak with her father. He had to speak with my granddaddy, my mother's father, right? And my mother and my father in turn taught that to me. Even though I didn't do it all the time, I did it at 17 years old at the time when it mattered the most and it counted. I courted the mother of my children. Before I ever laid a hand on her, I got permission from her mother and father to have her company. All right? Even though we shouldn't have been doing the things we was doing, but for one, it's because of what we going to bring out today. Her mama and her daddy was in the home, right? My father and my mother were separated, but my dad was still in my life. You understand? And when that Negro got on that phone and called me, and he found out that I had got somebody's daughter pregnant, the voice of God came through the phone. And he came to her mother and her father's house and guaranteed them that they didn't have anything to worry about, because I was not only going to take care of the baby, but I was going to take care of her. These are the lessons that are supposed to be taught, right? You're not supposed to touch someone's child, male or female, unless you get permission from the father. Why? Because you belong to your father. Your mother had you, true enough, but your father is your head. Your father is not only your head, your father is your mother's head. He tells your mother what to do according to God. As men, we have to understand that. Stop listening to that woman, brother. Let her run her mouth, and then you tell her to shut up. Tell her shut her mouth. You don't have to leave because she's loud and she talk. You don't got to leave, brother. Just tell her shut up. Tell her shut her mouth. And in order for that to be effective, you got to change your life. You got to stop being a drug addict. You got to stop being an unaliver. You got to stop being a drug dealer. And when your voice is in your mouth opens and your voice comes out strong, it means something when you speak. Now, contributing policies, opinions are mixed on Jordan Peterson, where users note that the early welfare models, like in the man in the house rules, here's another one, welfare. Well, our women had the choice, and the mothers and the fathers had a choice. Imagine this. Imagine your mother and your father sitting down. Your father, he trying his best to work. Sometimes men couldn't work. Even then, the most employed person in our communities was our women. White men did not want to see Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian men rise to any occasion. And they came up with a simple target, right? And that was the welfare program, housing. And that rule was, if you get the father out this house, you get this money and you get this place to stay. What do you think our people chose? They chose that welfare. They chose that food stamp. They chose them housing projects. And we all know what the outcome was. Now, if we can, sir, let's get the 80s. All right? While the other one is bringing that up, right? About fathers in the 80s. Now, we went through slavery, the 60s. Now we're about to jump into the 80s. All right? And I want y'all to see the pattern. What's going on. As you can see, the numbers was high. Coming out of the worst period of our lifetimes. Coming out of slavery. Out of this destruction that we faced. We came out and we kept our families intact as best we could. Coming down into the 60s, the numbers started to decline. But we were still holding on. But now they're making these programs, the welfare program and all of this now, right? Now let's get to the 80s, right? The co-residency rate of Black fathers in the home has shifted since the 1980s, marked by lower traditional marriage rates alongside high levels of daily paternal engagement. Meaning, we got our brothers and sisters, according to Living by America standards, marriage is what? A piece of paper. This goes to show that piece of paper that the white man has and says that is marriage, it is garbage. It does not bind you morally. You know what makes a marriage sound? Morals. Moral stability is what makes a marriage important. America doesn't understand that because the white man doesn't know what marriage is. Look at Greece. Look at the Romans. Just look at the empire. We trying to raise up families in the way of boy lovers. The white man is the most homosexual man on this planet. I pray you understand. I pray you understand. All right? Sex is marriage. Notice it keeps talking about the legal marriage. First of all, a lot of us couldn't even afford to go and have a marriage, even though some people did. I know my mother and my father, they got married in my grandmother's living room, right? In my granny living room, right? In the early 90s, say about 91, 92. That was when my mother and my father got married in my grandmother's house, right? But they went down to the courthouse, like what you have to do when you get married, and sign a certificate that says, okay, listen, this is your husband and your wife. They used to have something that was called common law marriage, to where if you was together for so many years, you was considered to be legally married, right? But then that went away because it was no acknowledging, because, you know, you got people arguing and fighting over who get what when somebody passes and all of that. So legislation and things get created. You understand? So we got to understand this right here. They saying that we was having babies out of wedlock. Christianity also was the driving force to this, because Christianity teaches that you have to be married as far as American standards instead of the standards of God. The Christian church is a whorehouse. The Christian church tells you you can have sex with whoever you want to, but we're not going to acknowledge that as your husband or your wife. Just like America. Thus is the problem, right? So it says, tracking data via the U.S. Census Bureau and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reveals distinct patterns between past decades and the modern era. 1980s parental co-residency and family structure. Two-parent household in 1980, roughly 42% of black children live with two married parents, down from 59% in 1970. So can anybody tell me what's going on now to make it go down? I'll tell you. The 1980s became the crack epidemic. This is the time when the government started another type of assault on our families, on black, Hispanic, and Native Indian families. It was called the war on drugs. They started putting drugs into our communities, flooding our communities with heroin, crack, cocaine. And now you see only 42% of black children living with two married parents, meaning their parents were going down, you understand, getting married at the courthouse or whatever, getting certificates from the American government to acknowledge their marriage, right? Non-marital births. During the 1980s, non-marital birth rates for black families averaged around 77%. For the first time, births reflecting a sharp acceleration away from the formal marriage structures compared to previous decades. You want to know why? Because when you got a community on drugs, the fathers leave, the mothers go astray, and children are left to what? Fend for themselves. It brings in all type of sexual abuse. Right? It's nobody to stop it. Fathers on drugs, mothers on drugs. Children running around, rampant, doing whatever. Fathers losing their lives, being unalive for this diseased place and the things that was going on in our neighborhoods. And now we're going to put a scripture to it. The first scripture we're going to bring out. Deuteronomy. First of all, so like it, sir. Let me finish reading this. It says, economic pressure. High systemic unemployment, over 11% of black Americans in 1980, and a manufacturing to service economic shift heavily disrupted household stability. Now, what that's talking about the taking away of factories, steel mills, like what Joe Jackson worked in. You understand? Like your grandfather worked in. They worked in mills, right? Those mills and those jobs was usually in the black neighborhoods, right? Black people were what? Brick layers. Hispanics, what were they? Concrete layers. Building houses. These jobs became slowly getting pushed out of our neighborhoods, right? It ain't no more working in the factory right up the street. So now you got men, black men we already poor, but now we're getting poorer, right? So it's economic pressure that's pushing us out because now the women taking the welfare now. They really want it now. Now you ain't got enough money, you can't pay the rent. Well, you got to get big. You got all type of problems going on with depression, which leads to drug use. You understand? Current parental co-residency and engagement. Modern co-residency, recent census and national health statistics indicate that roughly 52% of black children live with a resident father, biological step or adoptive, making a multi-decade high in co-residency stability since the mid-1980s. About 60% black fathers live with the mother and children, regardless of formal marriage status, right? So even this is showing us that this stigma that black children don't have fathers, that is a lie. Over 60% of families, right? Let's keep going. Watch this. Watch this right here. Hands-on involvement. Data highlighted by the CDC shows that black fathers living in the home participate heavily in daily child care. 70% bathe, dress, or diaper their young children daily, compared to 60% of white and 45% of Hispanic fathers. The white man don't even like to bathe his children, right? The white man is not really involved in his children's lives as much as black and Hispanic natives. In that sense, as with the Hispanics, you know why that says 45%? Because a lot of them can't be counted because they're undocumented. But that number with the Hispanics, I wouldn't be surprised if that was higher than with us. Because we the same people. Nobody has a family structure like the so-called Mexican. Nobody on earth has the family structure of the Mexicans. You got to show me one. You got to show me. Show me one. You understand? This is showing us right here, man, what's going on and what's happening with our people today. We got to get rid of the stereotypes and stop going along with it. Our problems ain't that we don't have fathers in the home, because we got them in there. The problem is when we don't have them in the home. And the other problem, as y'all can see, is what? Who's been paying attention? If you can see is where the white man gets involved. Where what the white man says is marriage. Where what the white man does to so-called help our people. If we get away from our enemies, right, and come back to our culture, then that number is going to go up and change. to where there will be no fathers. You understand? To where there will never be a house that won't have a father in it. You understand? Shared meals and support. 78% of co-resident black fathers eat meals with their children daily. And 41% assist daily with homework, outperforming or matching other demographic groups. The worst father in this world is a white man. Get out of here, man. And these are white people that do these statistics, by the way. The best fathers on this earth are black and brown fathers. I pray you understand. All right? Non-resident engagement. Even among non-resident black fathers, studies demonstrate higher rates of regular communication, co-parenting, and financial or physical participation than non-resident white fathers. So, what is the problem, right? You could drop that out of one. Let's get into a scripture real quick. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. All right. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, starting at verse 30, right? Let's get this. This book right here, Deuteronomy 28, is probably one of the most powerful books in all of the Bible. Because this is the literal sign that we are God's people. This book shows why those statistics come up. Damn right, Officer Yagadah, despite all that was done, still the best fathers on the planet. Damn right. Give yourself a hand, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man. You're the best fathers on the planet. The white man even knows that. So the question is, why is it that our children in our community seems to be out of control? And it is. But it's not because of lack of fathers in the home, per se. It's the lack of parenting. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's the lack of parenting. Let's find out why. Deuteronomy 28 and 30 says, thou shalt betroth a wife, meaning you're going to find a woman, right, that you want to marry. You're gonna become what's called, they say today, what, a fiance? That's all betrothed means. You're going to find a woman you want to marry, right? You're going to marry her. And another man shall lie with her. This is the first mistake. Because when you lie with a woman, that woman, but in the laws and the structure of the Bible, that woman is your wife. That man is your husband. You have no business lying with another man, woman. Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian woman, you have no business lying with another man once you lay with one. That's all you get unless that brother die. That's it. That's all. Why is that so important to know? And how do you go about making sure that doesn't happen? That this happens and it stays this way, right? That it gets better, that it does not go to this. Why? Because your father, General Mahyman did a class and was saying that instead of a woman going out trying to find a husband, find a father. Find a father. Find a father that's going to be there to raise you right. Some of you women are in your 40s, 50s, and 60s and never had a father, even though your daddy might have been in the house with you. Even though you might have been in the house with your mama and your daddy. Because it's a different way that we have to parent than how the world parents. Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian parenting is different from every other race of people on this earth's parenting. because our children are special unto God. That's why. With each child and each generation born, it is a generation that should be fit and honorable for the only God in heaven. That's just the facts. That's just the facts. The Bible said, the Lord said to Israel, ye are the only family that I know in all the families of the earth. The Lord does not know these other families. He did not give them the tools and the knowledge that he gave us, right? Let's keep going. Thou shalt build a house, meaning you'll build your family. A man's house is his family. If you come into the ISUPK under commanding General Hunter, you're going to hear brothers say all the time, the house of Yaiquab, or the house of Yagadar, or the house of commanding General Hunter, the house of General Muhammad, the house of General Shawamar. You understand? And so forth. Because that family is known by that man, not by the mother. That mother is going to be known. That wife is going to be known by her husband's name or by her father's name. This is why it's so important for fathers to be in the home as a Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. All right? And it says, and thou shalt not dwell therein. You shall not be with this family. You shall not dwell in this house that you made. Why? Thou shalt plant a vineyard and shall not gather the grapes thereof. You're going to have children, man. You ain't going to be able to even realize the blessing of having children. Because one of the laws in the commandments in this is children. Obey. Honor thy father and your mother, right? That's one of the commandments. Honor thy father and mother. How many of you understand what that means? I'll tell you what it means. It means that when you get old as a mother or father, your children will take care of you just like you took care of them. That's what it means to honor. You honor your father and mother by repaying what they did for you when you were a baby, when you were a child being raised. They did everything that they could that was right by you. I remember when I had my first child at the age of 17, my mama told me the first thing my mama said, and it made me cry. It brought tears to my eyes. She said, you know your life over, right? You know your life over with. How many of y'all heard that from your parents when y'all had y'all first kid? Huh? Your life is over. Because your life has to focus on those children. Because those children are going to one day grow up and be adults. And you need to have raised them in the right way so they can grow up to be righteous and productive. This is one of the curses, Deuteronomy 28 and 30. And this is just what we're seeing. We're seeing a man build a house and he can't dwell therein. One of those factors is what? The woman is leaving and marrying another man. She's having sex with another man. Not the man she's having the children with. Salakia, sir, if I could I get the slide that says affidavit and comments on it, right? Now, this is the story that's going on, right? And we're gonna look at this, and we gotta understand something, right? We're gonna look at this slide, and then we're gonna get right back into it. Right back into the scriptures, right? What we gotta understand is this. We having a certain burst of things going on in our community where the children seem to be raising themselves. Why? Because of the things that we saw when we was going through the slides. When you become a single parent home, right? Especially a single mother home, right? What does that mean? If you're not getting any assistance, government assistance, you have to work, right? If there's only one parent in the house, right? That means someone has to provide for this family. Now, I'm going to tell you the harsh reality of that. The harsh reality is this. If the parents are at work, who's watching the children? Who's raising the children? America works you every day. Some of us wake up working and some of us go to sleep working. You got some parents out there working 2 and 3 jobs, trying to raise a family. But in this particular case right here, this young sister, her mother found a 20-year-old underneath her bed. This mother, in her rage, walks this young brother out of the house and unalives him. Now, I want everybody to understand this, right? This is the problem with this is this. There was no father in this house. That's why this mother had to leave and go and work all the time. And let's note this. This mother has found other boys in this house. The mother even told the daughter that if she caught another boy in her house, she was going to unalive them. The first problem was this. And I want everybody to understand this. It's bad parenting. It's bad parenting. Not just on the mother, but on the father of this child. Because that father left this young girl. That father left that young child. Sometimes these things happen, not of our own doing. Sometimes they happen on our doing. Male and female. But either way it goes, when your child fails, it's not because the child wasn't responsible. It's because you weren't responsible enough. As a mother and a father, and this sister was trying to raise this child by herself. Lord knows how many men this child have seen this mother with. Lord knows, but one thing, this mother, whatever she was doing, she didn't want to see her child like that. And her child ended up, while she's working, trying to provide, having men in the house, boys in the house, right? Multiple boys. And remind you, this is a 13-year-old girl, so imagine how long this girl probably been doing this. This could have started when she was 12, 11. We don't know the details, but we're going to get the details of this. This is the affidavit. Affidavit of complaint. Personally appeared before me, Kendra Scott, right? On July the 2026 in said county, right? Kendra R. Scott, female, black, date of birth 9/23/1989, did unlawfully commit the offending degree murder, all right? TCA, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Employ a firearm during commission of a dangerous felony, right? Further, affiant makes oath that the essential faces constituting said, right? Said offense, the source of affiant's information, and the reason why the affiant's of information is believable concerning said facts are as follows. On 7/16/2026, at 1:40 hours, Memphis police officers responded to a shooting call at 3043 Travis Road in Memphis, Tennessee. When officers made the scene, they located a male, right? What is that? Can you make it a little bigger, Ottawa? all right, tentatively identified as Rodarius Morton in the front yard, right? Unresponsive, suffering from a gunshot wound to the back of his head. MPD Engine 36 made the scene, pronounced Rodarius Morton deceased at 1:01:59 hours. MPD officers spoke with Kendra Scott, who came home and saw a dude under my kid's bed, and I did what I had to do. So the sister said she had to do what she had to do. What she's saying is she had to unalive this brother that she found, right? Now, we're going to keep reading this report, and I want everybody to tell me what they don't see in it, right? Officers also spoke with the neighbor at 3041 Travis, who advised that he heard banging and came outside and saw Kendra Scott with a gun going into her house. He went back inside and shortly after heard one gunshot. When he came outside, he saw a male shot near the front porch of 3043 Travis and Kendra Scott standing in the front yard saying, "I shot him, still holding a gun." Kendra Scott was detained and was brought to 170 North Main Homicide Office for further investigation, where she read her advis of rights, right? And invoked her rights. A juvenile from 3043 Travis Road, who was a witness, was brought to 170 North Main Homicide Office for further investigation and gave investigators a statement that Rodarius Morton was invited by this juvenile, and he came in through the back door of the residence at 1 a.m. At around 12:10 or 1:30 a.m., Kendra Scott comes home and was knocking loudly, right, at the front door and yelling, "Who's at my house?" So apparently this sister had to have a ring camera or something, right? She's at work. She comes home. She's banging on her door to get in the house, right? I don't know what she's banging for if she got a key. But she banging on the front door before she go in the house, right? And it says, the juvenile stated that she was scared, this is the daughter of Kendra Scott, because she had a gun. She had a gun in her hand and was angry, yelling, and has told the juvenile in the past that Kendra Scott sees a boy in my house, I will put a hole in his ass. Once the juvenile let Kendra Scott in through the front door, Rodarius Morton was found hiding under a bed in the juvenile's room. As Rodarius Morton was leaving the residence with his belongings that did not include a weapon, Kendra Scott, all right, repeatedly was yelling, "Get out of my house," B word, at Rodarius Morton. And when Kendra Scott and Rodarius Morton got onto the front porch, the juvenile heard one gunshot. Officers located 1.9mm spent shell casing on the front porch at 3043 Travis Road in Smith & Wesson MP 9mm, right? Black handgun in the front yard near 3041 Travis Road. These items were photographed and collected by CSI Office J. Cole. Now, can anyone tell me what was not in that report? Can anyone tell me? You could take that off the screen, sir, Bubba Kashaw. Can anybody tell me what was not in that report? Con on one con, sir. Daddy was one of them. But what was the one thing? What was the thing that's been talked about all this week, right? All last week, all the way up until today. If you go on your social media sites, all you see is this. You see everybody arguing that the boy was 20 years old. That report just showed that mother shot that brother without knowing he was 20. That's what's not in the affidavit. What does that mean? It doesn't mean if that child was 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, or 18. She was going to shoot them regardless because she told her daughter that if she caught another boy in here, that was what's going to happen. But now ask yourself this: where was the father? Where was the father? Where was the father? The mother is absolutely a bad parent. How do I know this? Because there is no way that this child is constantly being left in the home when you've already caught other children in here with this girl. Where is the father? Where are the grandparents? Let me show you something according to the Bible, right? Or what a father would have done. Let me get Ecclesiasticus 42, starting at verse 9, out of 1. This is why the Bible is so important, right? And why we have to come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments, right? And make this a part of our daily lives once again. Because we are failing as fathers and mothers. We are failing as Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian fathers and mothers. Why? Because we are raising our children as if we are Americans. We don't understand that the importance of marriage first starts with your father before you're married. Your father is the sole determining factor of you being a good or bad parent, according to the scriptures. Captain Tazak always points this fact out right here. He teaches in his class, and he says this a lot. There is just something inside of a mother where a child sees that she can, or he or she can push over the mother. And there is something inside of a father where a child sees that I can't play around with this individual. Children are not afraid of their mothers because you're a nurturer. The Lord didn't put that inside you, but the Lord put that inside of a man. A man puts the fear of God in that house. A man puts that fear of God in the community. Because there's no way this young boy was able to make. And then the reports are saying that the young boy was an ESE student. He was a SPED student. They call it SPED, a special education student. But it does not disclude the fact that this 20-year-old should have been messing with that child, because whoever was over him should have been raising him and watching him. It's bad parenting all around. They say, oh, his mind was like a child. Well, obviously, he's seeing something that is not making his mind like a child to where he goes after young girls, because children don't know what sex is unless they see it and learn it from somewhere. In this time, in this day and age, all you got to do to find it is just pick up your phone and go on and lock on to something, or come out your door. All you see is half naked women. Walking around on social media. Why do you think your children are so hypersexual? What does a child 11 and 12 years old, how do they know if they want to be a girl or a boy? Tell me this. Tell me. It's because the people who rule over us, our oppressor, is a savage beast. And because we follow that savage beast, we have become that savage beast. We have become even more savage than he is. But let me show you a scripture in the Bible. And this is why coming out of slavery in the 80s, right? In the 60s, in the 80s, right? This is why the crime wasn't so bad. The children weren't so out of control with this new thing that we're seeing in the earth today, where our babies are losing their lives proportionately faster, you understand, than any other demographic in this earth. For one, we are the cursed seed of the Lord because we are living like the other races. You understand? We have to put good parenting back into the household. In order to be a good parent, you have to have good parents. All right? Being a good parent is not having a baby, getting pregnant, and leaving a man because you don't approve of him having another woman. Sis, what makes you think that a man should just be with you in the first place? I want any woman to come on here, right? Facebook, YouTube, anywhere. Tell me, what makes you think that you deserve to have a man all to yourself? Your grandmother didn't have pawpaw to herself. You never had one to yourself. But it's just a fact we don't know how to carry ourselves in these ways because we looking at the Christian church and our oppressor. But this is what a father does. If this young girl would have had a father in her life, this is what a father does concerning, and we're going to read these scriptures concerning his sons and his daughters, but first concerning the daughter. Ecclesiasticus 42 verse 9. The father waketh for the daughter, meaning this father wakes up, right? He wakes out of his sleep for his daughter. Let's see what he waking up for. When no man knoweth, nobody knows that this father is waking up out of his sleep. And the care for her taketh away sleep, meaning the way he takes care of his daughter. This father is waking up in the middle of the night, wondering if he's doing the best job that he can do for his daughter. Because this father knows that if he is not paying attention to this child, to this girl, that this girl can go down a road where she can possibly never recover from. So this father is waking up in the middle of the night with concern for his daughter, right? When she is young, meaning when she is 13 years old in Memphis, lest she pass away the flower of her age, right? Meaning lest she throws away her youth. You throw away your youth when you out here doing and participating in activities that only grown people are supposed to be indulging in. I'm guilty of it too. I was a young parent. A lot of us were. Your life is over once you become a parent. Teenage pregnancy is high. There's no father, there's no mother in the home. So in Memphis, boys and 20-year-old men who have mental problems are going to be under your daughter's bed because you're a bad parent. The house is out of order. You understand? But if a father was in that house, he would wake for concern of his daughter. right? And being married, lest she should be hated. This brother does not want his daughter to be hated by her husband because she got brothers in and out of the house while they're at work. And now this man goes to this father, and this father gives him permission to marry his daughter, which is to have sex with her. And he has sex with her, and guess what? She's not a virgin. I bring up this all the time. The Color Purple, the movie The Color Purple. When Mister went there to get to see Celie them daddy. He didn't want Celie at first. He wanted Nettie. But Nettie daddy told, he say, you could get Celie. She a little spoiled. She was spoiled because she had children in her father's eyes. She had already had 2 children, right? While she was a child. And he told her, Nettie, you can't have never. You can't never have Nettie. And that father was a disgusting beast too. Fathers, we've become so far from God that we've taken on this oppressive spirit full on to where we touch our children. We abuse our children sexually. This is something that has to stop. And you know what's going to make it stop? When a black man named Yahushua Mashiach returns. And if you touch your child, your head is going to roll in the streets. And if you're a woman that leaves a man to sleep with another, your head is going to roll in the streets. And if you're a child that is unruly and brings shame to your mother and father, something's going to happen to you too. And that's in the Bible. Then that's the problem. There are no consequences to the actions that we do. But going on, verse 10, it says, in her virginity, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in her father's house. No child, no daughter should be having a baby inside of her father's house. You shouldn't be living with your father, getting married, having sex, and having babies in his house. And he didn't allow you to do that. He didn't tell you you can have sex with this man right here and become his wife, and you all can stay with me. He didn't say that. But you did it behind his back. This is what this little girl was doing. Going behind the back of her mother. Having sex in the house. But if she had a father, her father would have woken in sleep just like these scriptures saying and been concerned for her, right? And having a husband, lest she should misbehave herself. A father is going to make sure that his daughter knows how to be a wife. How? Because she should look at her mother. Because your father is going to make sure that your mother knows how to be a wife. Because why? Because her father made sure she knew how to be a wife to your father and a mother to you. You see where this is going? Black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, in order to stop the mother of your child from unaliving brothers under the bed and catching brothers in the house, you got to stand 10 toes, man. You got to come into the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana, where you can grow your huevos. Huh? Where you can grow your cojones, man. And you can be men again. And we're going to read that too after this. And when she is married, lest she should be barren, right? Meaning not having a child. Because you've done all of these crazy things and having sex and having abortions. You can't even have a child now when you get with the man that you want to be with. Because you've done all of these atrocities, right? Verse 11, keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter. Keep watch over a 13-year-old girl in Memphis. Because she is shameful. She's full of shame. This little girl is all over TikTok, social media, posting all of these provocative posts and pictures of herself. And listen, you parents out here letting your children run wild on this social media, y'all are crazy. Honestly, I don't think children should have phones. I don't think you should have a phone until you like maybe 18, 17, 18. I really believe that. But if you do give your child a phone or even a game, PlayStations, you have to monitor what that child is doing. You can't leave a child just to do what they want, right? Lest she make thee a laughing stock to thine enemies. People talk bad about you by the way your children act. Y'all know that, right? A lot of you get talked about because your children are running around unruly. And that's all your enemies can talk about. Oh, so-and-so always on Facebook talking about this, talking about that. But they don't want to talk about that fast behind girl. That fast behind daughter she got. Or that bad behind boy she got. Listen, the Bible is real. Right? And it says, make thee ashamed before the multitude. Your children, you do not want your children to grow up and make you ashamed in front of the nation, in front of people. You don't want that. Let's get into some more of these scriptures. Graceful Gazelle says she was spoiled by him, birthed her father's kids. Right. Yeah, with the color purple. That's right. Her father was disgusted in that movie. And Mr. was too. Right? He was very disgusted. But that's where our people have come. You understand? That's where they've gotten to. Right? Because of this beast we are under. And Christianity is the number one reason for that. The Christian church and the oppressor goes hand in hand. And it leads to nothing but destruction. All right? Now let's get some of these proverbs, man. Proverbs 22 and 6. Let's get Proverbs 22 and 6, man. Proverbs 22 and 6 says, train up a child in the way he should go, right? What does it mean to train up a child? It means teach a child the way they should live, the way they should act, the way they should carry themselves. A lot of us don't train or raise our children. Some of us try to grow up and be their friends. You can't be your child's friend. All right? You can't be your child's friend. You just can't. You have to be a parent to your child. Do you understand it? You can't raise your child by acting like the child. You want to get on the TikTok and do the nasty TikTok dances. Woo! And all of that with your child. And then you get mad when someone calls your young daughter a whore or your little son a thug. but you're supporting all of these things that they should not be doing at all. But you know where they get it from? They get it from unruly grown men and women acting like jackasses on the daily, called content. Shaking your funky behind all over the internet. And you wonder why your daughters got boys under the beds? Train up a child in the way that they should go. It's called, we say it all the time, have some home training. Have some home training. Right? And it says, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. When they're older, when they become an adult, they will not depart from the things that you have taught them. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you got your child to go astray. Some of us go astray. We all been there. Some of us done been there. I know I went astray. I did. But I can honestly say that with the little bit of knowledge of the Most High that I did get from my grandmother, when I found the truth, I was able to know that this was what I was supposed to be following. Because it reminded me of the training, the home training, the yes, sir, no, sir. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Y'all got to get back to that too. Stop telling your children they can say yes. That is not the correct way to answer anyone. Your child should not say anything to you or any other adult when they're called upon, but yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. Not that yes crap. Where the hell do y'all get that from? Where y'all get that from? Your children ain't got no home training because you ain't training them right. Because, and some of y'all know better. A lot of y'all know better. But it's because you want to be unruly and try to tell a man what to do. All Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian women have grown to be such monsters. Such monsters. And you brothers, y'all ain't behind either. We ain't behind either. Because it's the ridiculousness. The things that we do on a daily, that we call entertainment and fun, the things that we subject ourselves to, proves that we have gone so far from who we are. We've gone so far from who we are coming out of slavery. As a family, we're talking about coming through the hardest time that we ever faced as a people. To right now, utterly destroyed. We got to fix this, man. And the only way to fix it is to come into ISUPK under commanding General Yohana, man. And we're going to keep bringing it out. Proverbs 13, right? Matter of fact, let me get Isaiah, if I could, Bubba Kashar Adawan. Let me get Isaiah chapter 3. Starting at verse 12. And this is the main part. And this gonna hit on exactly what I just brought up about our women being monsters, becoming monsters. And it's because we went away from the laws in the scriptures, right? Damn right, Officer Yagadah. He said allowing social media to be the parent and set the standards and boundaries. Our children are literally being raised up by the internet. Right? But Isaiah 3:12 says, as for my people, the children of Israel, right? Children are their oppressors, meaning our oppressor, the people that rule over us, they have childlike minds. The white man is a child at heart. Y'all know that, right? He's an unruly, spoiled baby. Donald Trump is the perfect example of that. These are the people that we follow behind, right? And women rule over them. Our women are ruling over us, right? O my people, they which lead thee, cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy paths. The people that lead us are oppressors. The so-called leaders of our people. We've been led by Cardi B and Tyler Perry and Dwayne Wade and that heifer he with. What her name is? I forgot her name. Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. These the leaders of our people? Come on, man. Let's be real, man. If I could, sir, let me get the slide that's talking about Marcus May. If I could. This is another story of another teenager. This is going on in the news too. And we got to understand as men, God gave us a certain ability into us. And I hear so many Christian men, always talk about it ain't about being tough. No, it is, because you're not tough. You're not tough on anyone. The only people you're tough on when you're in the Christian church and you're a man in the Christian church is poor people. When you're a black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man in the Christian church, the only people you're tough on are poor, black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people. Because the majority of you stupid Christians, you understand? Most of y'all have degrees and, you call yourself being in marriage the American way, living the American dream. But your children grow up and do the same thing. They go through the same things, the same problems, because you can't escape these curses. You can't escape them. It's only one way to escape them. And that's to come into the ISUPK and the Commander General Hunter. But this story right here is a father of alleged teen girl killer says he was on the hit list. This is the story of this little girl, right? Is it something on the bottom of it, sir? That kind of gives the backdrop. Marcus May says he learned, right? Says he learned he was on a family hit list prior to his 15-year-old daughter and her 16-year-old boyfriend being charged with shooting 7 family members and unaliving 5 of them. He says the teens had run away and left behind messages about family members they wanted to unalive. Now, this situation is so crazy because this young girl with her little boyfriend, 15-year-old girl with her 16-year-old boyfriend, right? Ran off, they ran away and came back and unalived half the family. Now, this brother, the daughter that did this, right? This was his only child. This was this brother's only child. But the woman he married, the girl, she had other children, some older in their 20s and everything, right? This girl came back and unalived 5 of them, right? Of her actual family for this little boy. Let me tell you where the fault was at in this, right? It goes back to that scripture we just read in Ecclesiasticus where the father checketh, right? Listen, as a parent, you have to have your face. You have to have your nose and your face in your child's business. You know why we can't, we don't be in our children's business the way we should be? Is because we in everybody else's business. That's it. You niggas is in everybody else's business but your own. That's right. I said it. I said it. You want to be in everybody else's business. You want to be all on social media, getting entertained by people who are just like you. Been abused, poor, ain't good parents. But y'all want to follow these people and be up in their world life drama, right? And you got your own drama in your own house. This brother's only child got with a 16-year-old boy, ran away from home. Now, it goes deeper into the story, and he talks about how they knew this boy, and his daughter was already talking. They found messages before. Somebody in the boy's family found the messages and messaged them and called them and told them what was going on. But this is the thing. She had been getting caught with the boy before. But this is the problem. You know what that father should have did? That father should have got that boy, right? And went to whoever was his parents. Or whoever was the authority figure over him. And they should have handled that accordingly. What do I mean accordingly? They should have set boundaries for these children. They should have set a boundary between them. And they should have gotten as many males as they could involved. Here's the problem, though. Where's the father of this young boy at? Where's the grandfather? Where's the uncle? Where is any male figure? Because this boy is being raised by this woman. He clearly doesn't understand what it means to leave this girl alone. This brother told this kid to leave that child alone. Sometimes, brothers, you understand, you got to take extra measures to protect your child or protect your children. Those measures means getting off of your ass and going out to where the problem is to fix it. You can't leave a child alone to themselves. Right? You just can't. Let's go to Proverbs 22 and 15, right? Proverbs 22 and 15. Proverbs 22 and 15 says, foolishness is bound in the heart of a child. Foolishness and a child's mind goes hand in hand. Children are foolish. They're children. Children are foolish because they are children. But what counters that foolishness is what? A wise parent. Wise parents. Wise adults. Knowing how to raise children. The head of that is a father. And I'm saying this because most of the time, you know us running the fathers away from the house. It's you, black woman, Hispanic woman, Native Indian woman. You the ones running that father away from that child, because we just brought up all kinds of statistics that say that black men are actively in their child's lives, whether they're in the house or not. They have a higher statistic than white males. Uh-oh. The problem is you. The problem is becoming you, black woman, Hispanic woman, Native Indian woman. Problem is starting to just become you. Not saying that brothers don't have a fault in it. We all have a fault in it. We all have a part that we play in it. But you as a woman have been given too much freedom. Too much. Too much freedom. And y'all are raising these men that y'all hate so much because you take the fathers away from them. Right? But foolishness in a child's mind is bound, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him. Listen, you got to know how to correct your children. And the one way to correct your children is this. When you tell your children something, make sure that you're not doing that. Make sure your children don't see you doing that. You can't tell your child not to be a drug addict and you're a drug addict. You can't tell your children to not sell drugs and you're a drug dealer. You can't tell your daughters not to be whores and you're a whore. Uh-oh. How are your children going to listen to you when you're doing the very things you're telling them not to do? But if you're in the right standing, then you can drive that foolishness from your child's mind by correcting them. Sometimes talking to those children, and like General Muhammad said in one of his classes, you have to get that child early. You have to get that child young and start raising them the right way. You can't decide to raise a damn child at 16. When the child is 16 years old, now you want to tell them how to act. That's not going to work. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. You're going to fail. Does everybody understand that? You're going to fail. All right? Let's get some more scripture. All right? Proverbs 23, 13 and 14, right? Withhold not correction from thy child. Listen, when your child does something that is not right, fix it right then and there. Right? For if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die. Y'all kill me with this stuff today, talking about what the oppressor says. And see, this is why the scripture in Isaiah was important. It says, children are their oppressors. This is how ignorant the white man is. The white man tell you you can't discipline your children. White people call the police on you if you hit your child in public, even though they hate your children. The white man absolutely hates your babies. He hates them. And when his children unalive them on boating trips, guess what? They cover up for their children. But they tell you if you discipline your child, you're going to jail. But when your child go out there and commit all types of crimes and things, then they want to say you're not a good parent. Stop listening to white people. Let's try that, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people. Let's stop listening to white people. Can we do that? Let's stop doing that. Let's listen to God. Let's listen to the God of the Bible. Let's listen to Christ. Let's listen to the prophets of old. All right? And it says, if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die. It ain't going to, listen, sometimes you just got to take something and do something. Sometimes you may have to just, body slam the hell out your child. Sometimes you just may have to. But don't worry, it ain't going to die. And you don't discipline your children to hurt them either. And you don't discipline your children out of anger. You discipline your children to correct them. Sometimes you got to break a few eggs to make a goddamn omelet. All right? Let's keep going.
Salakia, priest.
Go ahead, Ottawa.
Look, I mean, you dropping it so heavy in his class, man. I mean, what you putting down is so heavy, man, because the white man is so damn diabolical. Not only does he play off our emotions of our women and the foolishness of our children, that same white man will lock you up. They wanted to lock the parents up for these teen takeovers. You know what I'm saying? They want to come back and lock the parents up. He'll tell you that you can't beat your child, you can't discipline your child, but they will show up and unalive your child on the spot, and all of them will applaud that police officer for doing it. We put a video out, you know what I'm saying, about, I know you've seen it, of the brother, the 13-year-old selling the flowers in front of Walmart. He's selling the flowers in front of Walmart, and that goddamn cop got him bent down trying to permanently injure him for the rest of his life, his head in between his legs. You know what I'm saying? And on each comment, every comment from one of those oppressors is good. It's what he get. It's what should be done, because you're not raising your children. They absolutely can't stand our children. And they will sit there and play in your face and tell you you're not supposed to discipline your child, love your child, let your child do whatever you want to. And it's a straight setup, man. You brought out some heavy facts and some heavy numbers tonight, man. Some heavy numbers where you can draw a direct correlation from when they took that father out the household and the effects of it. And the last thing I'm gonna say, they spend billions and billions of dollars doing research. They knew exactly what was going to happen when they removed those black fathers from those families. They knew that. They knew that 80% of them is going to be more likely to get locked up. 80% of them is going to be more likely to have a menial job. Your damn pay decreases. Your education decreases. Your chances for incarceration increases. Your chances for dying early increases. Everything is worse when you remove that black father. Even if it's a single parent household with just the father, it still favors better than being in a single household with that mother, man. And they did this on purpose, man. But yeah, I just wanted to jump in there. Like I said, you slaying the priest, you know what I'm saying? And then again, this is what needs to be taught and spread throughout our community. It might have saved not only that young brother's life, you know what I'm saying, but that daughter's life, who now is not going to have no parents, and that mother who took that brother out. You know what I'm saying? All of this could have been avoided with one black father there. One black father. You know what I'm saying? So to water, priest.
I underbar, sir. I underbar. Get that priest a hand. You understand it? And that's so heavy because, like, the thing about it is, what we got to understand is, like, it takes action, right? Everything takes action. You have to be active. And in this place, I understand. We so beat down. We tired. We're weary. But it takes action. It really does take a village. Come into the ISUPK under commanding General Yohana. You'll see that village. You'll see that village again. I promise you. I guarantee you'll see that village again. But you have to change your ways. You have to change your life. You have to. It's imperative. Going to verse 14 in Proverbs 23 and 14. Thou shalt beat him with the rod and shalt deliver his soul from hell. This isn't talking about a fiery place underground. You know what hell is for your children? What happened to this young brother and this girl? This young girl is going to have to remember this for the rest of her life. That her mother unalived somebody that her little fast behind let come in that. After her mother told her she was going to unalive, take the life of anybody she brought in there. She had no remorse for that young man. She played with her mother. You know what saving your child from hell is? Saving your child from hell is what that brother Marcus made. If he wouldn't have spared the rod of correcting his daughter, guess what? That little boy she ran off with, they wouldn't have came back and unalived them parents, all them people in that house. Half of his family is gone. Sometimes you got to take your child. You got to break a few eggshells to make it on. Sometimes talking ain't good enough. And you got to catch it young. You understand? If I could, sir, let me get that slide with the single mother numbers. So these brothers and sisters will know. Right, sir, that belt may just save them from a bullet. It just may save them. You understand? But we're going to prove this. You got the single mother numbers, right? This is the single mother demographic, right? And this is the reason why this is important. All women have to know this. And we're going to get that scripture right after this, right? Or why it's so important and why this is so important for us to know and why this is a diabolical thing, right? Being a single mother, right? Single mother homes statistically experience a higher overall volume and percentage of juvenile criminal activity and delinquency compared to single father homes. Once again, if you ask a child who they're afraid of, most of the time, 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, that child is going to be more afraid of a father figure. Because a real father ain't having. Let me tell you something. My daddy, 64, 65 years old right now. If that man called me on my phone and tell me that he don't like something or something I'm doing wrong, and he see me doing it wrong, and he tell me I need to tighten up, I'm 43 years old. Ask me what I'm going to do. I'm going to tighten up. Because my daddy at 65 will break a few eggs to make an omelet. I pray y'all understand. And I don't even talk to my daddy once a month. But if he called me, if he feel like so, well, hey, listen, boy, he called me by, he don't call me by my Hebrew name. He called me by my name that my mama gave me. Boy, and he called me boy. You get it together before I put my foot in you. That's the kind of father I have to this day. You understand? All right? But let's keep reading it. It says, primarily because single mother households represent the vast majority of all single parent families. Most of the families that single parent is mothers. You know what? Most of these fathers that have single parent homes, I'm going to say this too, because I've seen it plenty of times. When most of the fathers have the children, y'all notice they don't keep the mothers away. No matter how horrible the mother is, they still allow that mother to be a part of that child's life. Tell me if I'm lying. Come on. I want to see somebody. Come on. Let's argue about this, right? But if that single parent, that single mama, she got to raise them children. Oh, what's she doing? She trying to turn you against the dad. She tell you, oh, he can't tell me what, he can't tell y'all what to do. He ain't here. This is the problem. You see that? This is why our children are doing the things they doing. The majority of them. Because of this. Let's keep going. When researchers control for family structure rather than just the custodial parent's gender, studies show the father absent or the lack of a two-parent household is the primary correlating variable linked to higher risk of behavior problems and delinquency rather than the mother or the father's gender alone. So it's not solely off the gender. It's about the father being out in the home. The father not being in the home. And I'm going to tell you something else. If you're a father in the home, then guess what? Your child should have the fear of God put in them. There's no reason boys should be coming to your house. There's no reason your daughter should have a phone talking to boys to where she could go off and run away with him and come back and unalive the whole family. Listen, We got to do better. Come into the ISUPK under Commanding General Hunter and get your huevos. Come and get your cojones. You understand? Come back to the Lord and become a man. Come back to the Lord and become a woman. Because without it, this is where we're headed. This is where we're going. This is where we are. All right? Let me get one more scripture. Let me get Ecclesiastes 25, 24, and 25. You want to know why the single mother home is so dangerous without the father? This is why. According to the Bible. And it's good that we can hear things like this out of the Bible instead of just people just talking. Because we get to see how the Lord feels about it. All right? All right. It says, Ecclesiastes 25, verse 24, of the woman came the beginning of sin. This is the Bible, brothers and sisters. This is what the Bible says. Y'all see that, right? That says the King James Version, KJV. The book of Ecclesiastes, right? Of the woman came the beginning of sin. What was the beginning of sin? The beginning of sin was when that woman, Eve, that sister, went against her husband by listening to another man. She was not talking to a literal snake. If you come into the ISUPK under Commander Jury Hunter, you'll find out exactly what it means, what that word serpent means. It means a lying and deceitful, cunning man. That is the spirit today of the devil that our oppressor has. He's a deceitful, cunning beast. It's the welfare program that he gives you to destroy the household. Sin came because this foolish man came and talked to this foolish sister who had a husband who talked with God when the other nations didn't. But Adam was special because he was raised up in the earth to be a man to carry the laws, statutes, and commandments. And the Lord told it to him, and he in time told it to his woman. But his woman went and listened to another man. And she brought that foolishness back to her husband. And that's the problem. Stop listening to your woman. That was Adam's mistake. He listened to his woman. Tell you, if Adam would have said, shut up, what you think Eve would have did? What you think Eve would have did? She might have been mad. She might have been a little upset. But she would have known to get away from him. Because there's something in a man that says, don't play with me. There's something in a man that should make everyone, even other men, respect your presence. Respect, have boundaries. I pray you understand. But it says, the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. Because of the woman's ignorance and disobedience. That's why that little girl got that young brother unalived. That's why that woman unalived that brother. She didn't know he was 20. She wouldn't have cared if he was 8 years old. She was going to blow him to smithereens because her daughter was out of control. And yes, it was the mother's fault. And it was that brother's parents' fault as well, and family as well, for not making sure, for not checking his social media. Because he was talking to a lot of underage girls. But to sit there and say, oh, his brain was childlike. A child's mind is not on sex unless the grown-ups around them are putting that in their heads, in their minds. Everyone is to blame. And that little girl is now going to be without a mother or a father. She's even posting right now. She's making posts. Provocative posts and posts saying, forget her, F her mama. Right now. Right now. Right? Verse 25. Give the water no passage. Right? Says, give the water no passage. How do you not give water passage to flow? You put a block in front of it. You stop it. Right? Right? You stop the flow of the water. You build something in front of it. It stops the flow. To do what? To keep it from going where it want to go at. You're not supposed to give your child passage or your woman passage to do whatever they want. Why? Neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. You don't give your women or your children passage as a man, a black, Hispanic, or Native Indian man, to do what they want to do. Some people say, oh, a man is controlling. A man is supposed to be controlling. That's the thing that the Lord put into us. To be controlling. To control. To control other men. To control themselves. To control the women. To control the children. So guess what? Our children won't run away at 15 and 16 years old and come back and send everybody in the house to the upper room. And if you ain't falling in line with that, you're the problem. You're the problem. It's not a lack of fathers in the house. It's not a lack of mothers and fathers, coming together and taking care of the children, or whether they're in the house or not. It's the parenting. We have a history. Black and brown fathers in the home. And that history is strong enough to suffice to make it and get us through to Christ returns. But we also have another problem. As is the mother, so is the daughter. I pray you all understand. Anybody got any questions? Anybody on Facebook? Anybody in the comments on the YouTube got any questions? You want to add anything, Officer Yagada? Man, give Officer Yagada a hand, man, on the ones and twos tonight, man. It's always a pleasure, man. When my brother
I appreciate you did a great job. You know what I'm saying? I'm just in awe, sitting back, watching and taking notes.
The water, sir. The water. All right, man. Listen, man. Anybody got any questions? The thing about it is, man. Listen, man. Our people we got to come together, man. We got to come together. If I could, sir, we got a couple more minutes. Can you go back to the slide that says affidavit and comments? Can you pull up some of them comments? The comments that's in that for me, the Facebook comments. I want y'all to see some of these comments too from people on Facebook commenting. You got some people blaming the young man, blaming the young girl. Some people saying the mother was right. And listen, this is what I'm saying. I'm saying this. It's a reason why the mother unalived the boy. It wasn't because he was 20 though. Let's get that understood. It wasn't because he was 20 years old. It was because she was tired of her daughter disrespecting her by having men in the house, boys in the house. You understand? That was the problem. But this mother, it's her fault. It's not the young girl's fault. She's foolish. She's a child. She's foolish. But let's read some of these comments right here. She back on TikTok with new pics with her legs wide open while on mama is in jail. Mom didn't know how old he was, till after. So even if he was a teen, she still would have shot him because she said any boy to her daughter. All right? Alicia Davis said exactly, but these folks saying I'm wrong. That girl ain't give a F about her mom. She wants some D, and that's just what it is. Your mama finna do 10 plus because you wanted to mess with an autistic boy, right? She on the prowl looking for another victim. This shows no lesson was learned or ever taught. Now, y'all see a lot of those comments is women. Women got a lot to say about it. You understand what I'm saying? This lady came home from work to find my little brother in her home with her daughter. The daughter invited him to her house. Her house. Lady was at work. Come home, goes in her house, see him, proceeded to go get her gun, come back and shoot him. That's the sister of the boy. Right? That's the sister of the brother that got unalive. That's his sister right there. You understand? This is crazy. This is crazy. Like, look at these comments, man. Just look at them. You at work. Can you imagine you at work? And this is another thing. Like, just think about this when you were young doing the things that you was doing. What was the cause of you doing them? It's because nobody was home. Nobody was ever home. It takes two parents to raise a child, man. We got any more of them comments on that other one? We got, are there any pictures of her? Did I send any of those pictures?
I didn't see any pictures, priest.
Okay. All right. It's Tawab. It's Tawab by the one. It's Tawab. That's look at it. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. They saying the child told him she was older, but I got pictures in my phone showing where he was talking to other younger girls. But this is a sister who know this boy. You understand? Like, man, listen, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, they ain't on the other one. I didn't put them on there. That's the Atlanta team. Play that one, other one. Play that one. Salaki, if we could. Y'all bear with me. I want to play this one too. This is the Atlanta team. Watch this. This crazy. This one gonna get you. As if you ain't seen already some of the craziness that's going on. This teen girl was in Atlanta, Georgia, right? Shalom, officer, how you call? Checking in from Atlanta. All right. We got a priest and prophet from Atlanta in the class right now. Here goes something that happened in Atlanta, right? T says,
and actually the families.
Go ahead, Adawan. Go ahead and play it.
Says they're raising questions about what they call a life-altering mistake.
Yeah, the family classifies this as devastating news, but they're happy that result turned out to be negative. They said after their daughter tested at this facility, they did not hear from anyone from this urgent care for weeks.
I didn't feel good at that moment.
This DeKalb County teenager showed the physical scars left behind after she attempted to take her own life, moments after seeing a positive HIV diagnosis from Pickens Urgent Care.
I was just crying like, feel like my life was over.
Both the teen and her mom told me emotional scars remain. They asked to conceal their identities for privacy. Her mother says she heard her daughter screaming around 2 a.m. in June.
I picked the lock, go in the bathroom. She's on the floor crying.
The family says the teen found the diagnosis while checking her online medical portal. They say no one from Pickens Urgent Care called to explain the result, offer support, or schedule follow-up care.
The clinic never contacted us. The doctor didn't contact us.
Her mother sought second opinion. She had her daughter tested at 4 different medical facilities.
Everything came back negative.
She says a nurse at an HIV clinic urged her to dig deeper.
She said, Mom, this is a false positive. Do your research on that clinic. Do your due diligence.
The family found dozens of online complaints alleging misdiagnosis, lost medical samples, and poor patient care at the same facility.
Sir, you can stop it right there. You want to know the problem with that is? Why is that young teenage girl going to get tested for AIDS? Why does she have a my chart? You know why? Because her mother is allowing her to have sex. Her single mother. I quit.
Hey, Salakia, Priest. What's so crazy though? Look, your first reaction isn't to say, okay, well, who was I with last time? So it means it's got to be so many people. Her only solution, I'm just gonna take my life.
I'm gonna take my life.
Y'all mad at the clinic. You mad at the clinic. You ain't got no problem with your daughter who don't even know who she was with last. You know what I'm saying? She can't even come up with somebody. Look, I need to go holler back at John. It has to be him, man. This is outrageous, man. And this is exactly what you were talking about earlier, as far as social media is raising the damn children. They setting the standards and the boundaries. This damn white man done told you it's okay for your child to be having sex. That's natural for a teen. Nah, that's natural for them. That's not natural for us. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you got it, Priest.
Hold on one con, man. And listen, man, this is just, man, listen, I pray y'all understand, man. I pray y'all understand and y'all see what just happened through class all tonight. Listen, we got to come together. We have got to come together. Got to come together, and we got to do better. 1 second. Let me get this so I can read these announcements.
New Vision Creation, official ISUPK apparel.
Let's get right to it, dog. You know it's raw. Well, let me catch you if you're showing off. I wanted to get you, I hold it off.
New Vision Creation, official ISUPK apparel.
I can admit it, I know what it's I'm tripping, I got every group. Niggas a fumble a bag, I get to the cash, gotta salute. I've been a hustler, look how I'm coming up. You running your mouth, better run it up. I'm running this shit like a big dog. Living my movie, they pissed off. Pushing the law cause we in charge.
New Vision Creation, official ISUPK apparel.
Making my move, that shit gotta wait. Ahead of my time, keep it in line. Put on their face, I just learned to keep it all to myself. Wait, a couple of niggas that hang with me got a bang for me. If I'm doing bad, never change on me. We the salt of the earth. We the mother.
All right. We're going to do the ISUPK security announcements. The ISUPK started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for a year. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After a year, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 and 21. Malachi 3, 8 through 10. Means 10th in Hebrew. Ma'ashra, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. What you're going to do is go to ISUPK.com. Look up in the top left corner. You'll see a button that says tithes and donations. You're going to go to ISUPK.com to pay your tithes and donations. All right. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you like. Upcoming holy convocations is the memorial of blowing trumpets, right? That's going to be September 11th. All right. So at the schools, keep checking the bulletin boards and stay up with your calculator to see what you're going to need to rock out the high holy day. All right. Any brother that school to be a trooper. Put on all black boots, shirt, pants, head, and a scarf. Any sister that wants to come into the school, make sure you have your head covered and you come in with a modest dress. All right? And with that, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua Baraka Thumb to the brothers, Yahweh Shema Alathan Ba'ashim Yahushua to the sisters.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please, go to ISUPK.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're one West. They're one West. They're one West. They're